Hello and welcome to the Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit, eventually, but a Lego set right now, and of course, hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Barcade, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can say hi with those emotes or hi just in general. Or if you want to be a lurker, you just lurk. You can use other people's emotes. You've got options. You've got so many options. It's Thursday, and we're going to work on a Lego set. We're going to finish the Jurassic Park Triceratops research, which is part of the 30th anniversary of the first Jurassic Park movie. This is a classic scene. So we have Dr. Ellie and Dr. Ian Malcolm and the Triceratops. And of course, they made Lego poop. They made a dung pile in Lego, a dino dung pile. And we're going to build that after we finish the vehicle. It's the last thing you build in the kit. So, you know, we'll get there. Couple things and thanks before we get forward. Before we get started, I should say, with the stream proper. Do you want to just say a reminder for folks that may not have seen it on social media or on my Discord? I am promoting this, but this is the first time promoting it on stream because I made the call to start that this was going to happen. After Tuesday's stream, basically, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do this. Harold's here. Hello, Harold. So I want to tell you about a bonus stream that I am doing tomorrow. That's right, you were invited to This Ain't No Dental Plan, raising money while playing CPU versus CPU matches in WWE 2K23. Hey, Range, welcome. And Lord Crescent, hello. I'll be back on camera in just a second. Every donation of $10 or more, you can choose the user-created venue, wrestlers, and or match type. For the first time ever, I am going to be downloading user-created venues like arenas, and you can also make suggestions and I can go look for them if they have them. For $25, I will cut a wrestling promo on you. So in addition to the other things. And if we hit the goal, we watch That Time I Was a Wrestler. Let's watch a promo and match for my days of running a comedy wrestling show. That's right. For those that are unaware, back in the old days of the 2000 teens and late 2000s, I helped produce a comedy wrestling show. A comedy show where the hosting bit every week was wrestling, the UCBW. And as booker for much of it and creative and support, I also was a performer. So I would do comedy sketches about being a wrestler, basically. So we'll look at a very good example of the kind of promos I did as Beach Cop, the only good cop, because the beach is hilarious and funny. The idea of a cop who patrolled only Coney Island was very funny to me at the time, and I found some comedic value in it. I would not do it now if I was coming up with a wrestling character that was a comedy wrestling character. Would not pitch Beach Cop now, but at the time felt okay about it. And then we will see a match facing a championship match, and we'll take a look at that if I hit my goal of $500, which we might do because I'm already at 40% of my goal. I'm going to double check that right now by hitting the donation bar there. Yes, I'm currently at 40% of my goal, thanks to a lovely donation from Asmo. And Asmo has made a recommendation of a match that they would like me to do, which we'll see tomorrow. We will do something with Eddie Kingston and Terry Funk. I assume I'm going to have them tagged together. I don't feel like I want to put them against each other, but user-created Terry Funk is in the game, and I have downloaded Terry Funk, along with a bunch of other people. Let's go to the overhead as we get into some Lego here. We got our Triceratops. It's only, 2 pieces, or 3 pieces, really. Our big Triceratops friend here. We put the legs, 5 pieces, because we put that all together. 6 pieces. What am I even saying? Wow. Great job, Pat. Already off to a great start. But we put this together. We put that over there so it's hanging out. We've got Ellie here in much of a vehicle. Our first decal. We've got a few more decals to put on, including one we'll be doing very soon. So we'll work on this. For a little while tonight, we're going to talk about the sudden passing, the somewhat expected passing yesterday of Terry Funk, the Funker, and the unexpected passing today of Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. And if I am the way you're finding out about either or both of those things, I truly apologize. I should not be breaking news of people's deaths to you, but that those things, did happen this week. Yesterday, Terry Funk, who had been battling illness for quite some time, deteriorating health for years, while recovering from a hernia, just increased the damage by working indie dates, which led to a severe deterrent, and then also the loss of his wife for many years. So yeah, Rain, I had heard before you broke the news in my Discord. I was aware before that, and yeah, but that is a thing that certainly we did have to at some point probably talk about in there, and then we'll talk about in here. Yeah, Terry Funk in poor health for a very long time. Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt certainly had missed a match he was supposed to, just a while ago. He was supposed to work a program with Bobby Lashley, set up videos to get in the head of Bobby Lashley. He had competed against LA Knight in the Mountain Dew match, with the Mountain Dew I forget what it was called. It was in the dark to deal with the fact that was the brand thing. He had finished that match. He was moving on to a feud with Bobby Lashley, and then for health reasons was pulled from events and from the road. We didn't know why. His last match was a dark match against LA Knight after the fact. They were still kind of working together, so he was doing some house show stuff. And yeah, we did, we certainly didn't know what was going on there. It has been reported by Sean Ross Sapp, who says that he has gotten permission to reveal this information, that earlier in this year, Bray Wyatt came down with COVID, and he was recovering from it, and that led to exacerbation of heart issues that he already suffered from. He was apparently recovering. People were optimistic about his return. And he suffered a heart attack today and passed away. That is what's being reported. The news was shared by Triple H of the WWE. If you are not up to date in wrestling, but you used to be, you may know Bray Wyatt as the son of IRS, Mike Rotunda. You may remember IRS, the Irwin R. Shyster. And Blackjack Mulligan was his grandfather on his mother's side. He is survived by his fiance and several children, I believe 4, and his brother, who goes by the wrestling name Bo Dallas, who, not openly, but it is a kind of known secret, quote unquote, that the person portraying the latest incarnation in the Wyatt saga, Uncle Howdy, was most likely, probably, definitely Bo Dallas in costume. Bray and Bo tagged together in FCW before that eventually evolved into NXT in developmental, but they did not work together outside of this. Assumed that they worked together in that form, but never as Bray and Bo, which is a real shame. Terry Funk always looked like an old man and wrestled like a bruiser, like a brawler. there are so many, oh, well, there are so many people that are, you can say hardcore wrestling wouldn't exist if it wasn't for blank. And he is one of those people, a pioneer in just brawlers. The style he worked was, oh, well, he's the wild brother between him and Dory Funk Jr. They're both the sons of Dory Funk. Oh, well, Dory Funk Jr. is the champion. He's the brains. And, well, Terry's crazy, so you got to look out. But you could beat Terry. NWA champion, stints everywhere, certainly. Came to know Mick Foley, Cactus Jack in Japan, and then in WCW, and a brief run in WWF/E. Terry Funk is one of those guys that he was and is and remains one, like a carny wrestler. When we talk about wrestling, sometimes we talk about the carny lifestyle, because in many instances the territorial days of the carny, hey Lashbrook, speaks to wrestling. He loved the art form. He loved doing it. He loved traveling. He loved working the road and doing the style and getting booze. But at the end of the day, Terry Funk wanted to make money wrestling. And if it made you money, it worked. If it didn't make you money, it didn't work. And because of that philosophy, Terry Funk was an open-minded wrestler in many eras where it wasn't, where the different, interesting, weird style didn't cut it, right? Lucha style. Oh, that's just acrobatics and flipping around and dancing. That's not wrestling. It's like, well, I don't know. Every single day in Mexico City, people are making buckets of money wrestling that style. And then when those wrestlers travel, people come out to see those wrestlers. It makes money. So I don't know if lucha is a bad thing. One of fucking Terry Funk, in the days of going to Japan, the American wrestling scene thought Joshi, women's wrestling, was kind of junk. These 125-pound women going in there throwing each other around. And predominantly in All Japan Pro Women's Wrestling, All Japan Women's Wrestling, the audience was women primarily. They were women paying to see women wrestle each other. There were dudes that showed up, but it was primarily for women. And when you think about the demographics today, that sounds insane. But even at the time, wrestling was a family thing, and there were old ladies that came to the wrestling, but young ladies didn't really go to wrestling. They went to go see the pretty boys, right? Like the Von Erichs had an audience of women, but the idea that most of the audience was going to be women was kind of weird. But those women were buying tickets. They were buying shirts. They were coming back. They were making signs. And Terry Funk was like, there's got to be something there because people are into it. Same thing with hardcore wrestling. Like in his 50s, adding in moonsaults to his repertoire, doing death matches, doing stuff that wasn't like, now I'd say, no, Terry, please don't do this. But at the time, yeah, he saw green. And that to him was like the end all be all. Like, well, if it makes money, then it's totally fine. So he was progressive by being capitalist, which is weird, but you know what? We'll take it. Take what you can get, and if that's the way you get Terry Funk to be like I don't know, there's something there. I don't got a problem with it. That sounds great. Comedy wrestling, treating it like a variety show, weird stuff, like storylines. He was up for it because he recognized that different things brought different people, but if it brought the people in, then you're good. Um, a lot of people have a lot of incredibly nice things to say about Terry Funk. Of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention uh, Terry Funk's involvement with the Insane Clown Posse for better and worse, and then better again. If you weren't aware, the Insane Clown Posse had their own wrestling promotion. Appeared on television on wrestling companies. They love wrestling. They've wrestled to various degrees of success and or failures, but they have. But they also put out some DVDs years and years ago. They put out some DVDs where they watched old wrestling matches that were not, that were like on YouTube or on tape trades, but they weren't. They were from companies that like nobody really had ownership of, or they didn't go after them, and probably they didn't really care. And they did commentary over some matches, and that commentary tracks were often at the expense of the wrestlers in the ring. They weren't nice by any stretch. And Terry Funk was on there. And Terry Funk was fucking pissed. And he had said something, somebody said something about musicians in an interview, and he went off on the Insane Clown Posse. And he said, if I see them in the street, they're dead. Something to the effect of that. And nicely enough, the Insane Clown Posse were bummed about that. Because they love wrestling. And they love Terry Funk. And they were bummed that Terry Funk was mad at them. That they had pissed him off. So through Sabu, they reached out. They were in Texas. They were in one city and going to another. And they were like, can we come to the ranch? Can we apologize? Can we come by? Can we come by your house and make amends? I'm not sure if anyone used the word amends, but you get what I'm saying. And he said, okay. And they drove a really long distance. They came there. His wife had chili on, so they ate a bowl of chili with Terry Funk, and they talked to him, and they apologized, and they said, and then they'd gotten smartened up by somebody, because they said, Terry, we're going to leave you an envelope with some money for to pay you for the match stuff and to make this better. And he was like, no. And they're like, we're going to pay you, Terry. And we're going to put the envelope down and you'll look at it later. They'd gotten smartened up that you couldn't just write a check to Terry Funk. You couldn't just hand him cash. You had to do it. So he went out of the room. They left some money. They left. They went on their way. And he's like, oh, all right, maybe there's like $40 in there or something. Terry Funk really undersold how much money they would make things right with, because he was like, oh, maybe there's like some like $20. And I'm like, if they paid for they apologized. That's nice. If they, paid for the chili they ate, that's good. Sure. They left him $4,000 in cash. And this is in Terry's autobiography, and it ends with, I love the Insane Clown Posse. I have all their records. I haven't gotten around to listening to them yet, but I sure do love those guys. Something to that effect. So Insane Clown Posse, they are, those dudes are hit and miss, hit or miss, for sure. Not always the best dudes in the room, but they did right by Terry Funk. And like fucking years later, I'm talking like 2018 or something, Terry Funk was doing an interview with people, and he was talking about somebody was trying to get Terry Funk, because they didn't realize somebody was trying to get Terry Funk to badmouth celebrities coming into the ring. And he says something like, it's a shame when anyone comes in that doesn't love it, but the guys that love it, they're going to put butts in seats, and that helps everybody. And then he said, Insane Clown Posse should be on TV because they put butts in seats and they love wrestling. Have a good night, Harold. I'll talk to you soon. Um, so he was still thinking about them fondly, which is very, 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 very funker of him. Yeah, Terry Funk. If you've only seen Chainsaw Charlie, Wrestling in Fago, indeed. If you've only seen Chainsaw Charlie, if you've only seen his ECW run past his prime, his retirement shows, his Hall of Fame speech, you owe yourself a favor. Go on YouTube. A lot of it's up there. Terry Funk was a nice man that was brutal in the ring and brutal on the mic. And he'll be missed. Yeah. And then we'll say Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. It'll be forgotten by some eventually that the build that was always about the build. And a lot of it was misses. A lot of it fizzled. A lot of it had there would be this incredible storytelling and weirdness and strangeness and like across brands and on different shows and on social media, and he was just doing stuff and just going for it. And then he'd lose at the pay-per-view. And the last time he won at the pay-per-view against a guy that people were like, oh, and he's burying it, so he can never win. And that'll be forgotten over time because it'll be left with just his impact. But a thing I said today in a Discord when thinking about Bray Wyatt is he somehow managed to be very weird in a company that is not known for weird. And that's to be applauded. That man was singular in vision enough and fought enough and compromised enough and didn't compromise where it mattered to do really weird shit. Like the idea of a wrestler in a rocking chair. Like what? Like it's just like, yeah, I'm a cult. Yeah. You're a cult leader. You wear flamboyant costumes, and you got a southern drawl, and you got some weird creeps around you, and that's cool. It's like, yeah, I want a lantern, and then I want the lights to go out, and then when lights come up, I'm in a rocking chair. What? Okay, like that's if that was it, that's already weirder than almost anything else happening in WWE. But that wasn't it. Bray Wyatt got to be real weird. I remember the first Firefly Funhouse, his Mr. Rogers Wonder, like by way of Wonder Chosen talk show, like children's talk show video segments, where he's wearing, he's himself, he's Bray again, and he's not the cult leader, he's just the real dude. He would do this a couple times where he would reveal himself as the real Bray Wyatt. And it didn't work for people. It didn't work for people. People were like, what is this? What's this weird shit? What's going on? Why would he do this? What is this? Because it seemed like a strange misstep. It seemed like going from one gimmick to another, jumping from incredibly good gimmick to an incredibly weird gimmick. Like suddenly being like, yeah, oh, Bray Wyatt, yeah, Bray's great, but like, what if he was like a dude that also had like a weird children's show that was like meta in some ways, but not in others? It's like, yeah. It's like, what? No, that shouldn't work out. But it did. Firefly Funhouse was a treat, and it was a weird creative choice, and it was a great strange direction for a guy, because the original Bray Wyatt gimmick, the Eater of Worlds, had gone in so many weird directions, had so many bad starts and stops, weird tag teams, just a fizzling out of a lot. And then the idea that Bray, the cult leader Bray, was him trying to build a family. And then when he was alone with his thoughts, he suppressed it and he tried to be normal. But by suppressing it, there was a thing inside of him that came out, which was, of course, the Fiend, which was, costume, nonsense, scary, weird thing, this monstrous weirdo, this other entity that had always been there, that by being the cult leader Bray, by being the Wyatt family leader, he had been able to suppress it. But now that he was alone, he couldn't anymore. He just had weird manifestations of it. It was fucking weird and great. And had ups and downs. And then he went away for a while. And Brody Lee passed away, who had been like a brother to him. And then he was coming back. And this last run, yeah, it was weird. Yeah, Uncle Howdy felt like a misstep, this weird other alter ego that was in there. And it wasn't great. And it was good, but it wasn't great. It didn't turn out excellent, but it started off so weird. WWE did a thing. They did stuff and didn't talk about what was happening. I can't stress this enough. That the WWE at one point allowed things to happen and for the audience to just wonder what it was. Like, it started in the arenas. There were a couple weeks where the lights during during a commercial break or before the actual show had started, the lights would go red and then music would play. And then that was it. And there was no reference to it. The announcers didn't talk about it. There was nothing. And it happened for a couple weeks. And people were like, what is this? Why isn't WWE telling me what's happening? And then there was one show where the crowd, or the parking lot got flyers, and there'd be a logo in the corner. There was weird websites and like QR codes, and then eventually, the announcers mentioned a QR, like, hey, there was a static thing, but they weren't going into it. And because it took like a month before anything happened, some wrestling fans were like, when are they going to fucking do it? And it's like, I know you just want the thing to happen because part of you realizes that the build is the best part. And once we get to it, you're just going to get disappointed again. So you just want to jump to the disappointment part. And I understand that. And I get that. But it was a slow, patient build. And then he came back. And there were like people dressed as some of the characters from Firefly Funhouse just around. And there were like this weird, there was just like a fucking prop door with lights behind it. And I was like, what the fuck is this? What's going on here? And then it was just Bray Wyatt. It was just Bray Wyatt as a heightened version of Wyndham Rotunda. He came back to new music and a slow-ass walk to the ring, and he was bathed in blue lights, and he apologized for losing control of himself and having to go away. And he talked about John Hubbard and missing John Hubbard, Brody Lee. He talked about like not liking the version of himself for so many years. And it was cathartic in many ways. And it was a baby face promo. in the style of like a street preacher. And he did backstage interview or backstage promos. And he was getting mad because things, there'd be a mistake or someone walked in the shot or there was a noise and he was pissed off about it. But then he would apologize for it and say, I'm sorry. And the demons that we had seen, he was upset about. He was trying to fight it. And it was such a weird, unique, interesting take on it. This and the crowd ate it up. They wanted, the live crowd wanted him to get better. They wanted good things for this man. That they wanted him to be a hero and reconcile with his demons and be a better person. They went along for the ride. And yeah, when he got evil, they cheered. When Uncle Howdy showed up, it was weird. When Uncle Howdy became Uncle Howdy, who seemed at one point to just be a manifestation, turned out to be a real person, and that was weird and unexplained. And we'll, and that'll be just a WWE mystery. And it didn't end great. And there's a lot of the story that doesn't end great. That Randy Orton was the babyface and burned down his childhood home. He burned down Bray Wyatt's home, but he was the babyface. There were so many weird things, and that story had no nonsense twists and turns in it. There wasn't anything fun about that story. Nonsense story. That Alexa Bliss ended up, he was being corrupted by Bray, and then the powers that Bray possessed chose her instead of him, and she turned her back on him, and it was all this stuff where you're just like, what are we watching here? There would always be times where you'd be like, I don't know what we're supposed to think of what's happening in this thing. So I don't want to try to paint I don't want to look through rose-colored glasses and say that it was never bad and it always worked and it was always great. Because there were times where it absolutely did not work and was not good. He was sometimes very hit. He missed a lot, is what I will say. But even when he missed because he was swinging. He was swinging for the fences. He was trying to do something. And failing in that way, I have no problem with. Going for it. Being a unique individual. Being a unique thing in wrestling. Doing one of the greatest of that era, the match with John Cena at WrestleMania, the Firefly Funhouse match, is the best of that era of cinematic matches. It's right up there with the first Final Deletion as being a brilliant piece of weirdness. And he died at 36. And that's a real shame. In a Discord today, as we were talking about these things, I said that he was supposed to age into a crazy old man. He was supposed to be an old, weird man wrestler. Like, retired from in-ring, but still working in the business as a manager. Just like a creepy, weird dude, scaring people in the mid-card and, helping somebody come up by giving them some support. Like, that was his legacy. That was supposed to be his legacy. He would just be a weird old man manager and have like a second life as that. And we didn't get that. And it's a real shame. Just a weird creative mind that probably had a dozen more strange ideas, and like two of them would have been brilliant. I don't know. It's a shame. It's always a shame. You know? And again, these two wrestlers that I've now spent 40 minutes talking about. I've never met either of them in person. Only saw one of them wrestle in person, and that was fucking Terry Funk. I saw Terry Funk a couple times in ECW. I was kind of hoping for the Mick Foley eventuality. Yeah, so Mick and Bray, yeah, you kind of want to see Bray Wyatt end up in the Mick Foley role of a figure that gets a big pop coming in, that puts people over, that somebody would inherit Sister Abigail in the same way that he started doing the Mandible Claw. And it would add some oomph and emphasis to it. And you'd be like, oh shit, he's doing fucking Bray Wyatt's move. Whoa. You would hope for that with him. But yeah, it's just, yeah, it is a shame when we lose people, and it is a crying shame when we lose good people. By all accounts, we lost 2 good people this week. Lord Crasher says, Terry at least got to live a full life, unlike many of his peers. Yes. It is not lost on me that we live in an age, as wrestling fans, where the idea that half of a stable from the 2010s is no longer with us is bonkers. The idea that half of the Wyatt family, because at the most there were ever really 4, there were 2 sort of members, but there are 4 actual members of the Wyatt family, and 2 of those members are gone. That's something that you would expect from the 80s, the 70s, even the 90s, but not the 2010s. You don't expect half of a stable to be gone that had its prime, that existed in the 2010s. You just don't expect that. That is not something that wrestling fans of this modern era expect. And while Terry survived many, many people for many, many years that lived hard lives just like he did, it would not have been a surprise to lose Terry Funk at any age. But it is a huge surprise to lose Bray Wyatt today. Yeah. It's, yes. 100%. It is remarkably surprising and sad. But yeah, I mean, like, you know, it does happen. It is a very tough one. Rin says, we got through a rough patch of wrestlers dropping dead in their 40s and 50s for the most part, thankfully. Yes! We now see wrestlers, and the thing is, now that we are seeing more and more wrestlers live those longer lives, we are now reconciling with how they treat their bodies in their 20s and 30s. If your prime is in your late 30s and you were dead in your mid 40s, that's very different than your prime being in your late 30s and you living to 60, 70, 80. Those are very different stories that we have to reconcile with that. The damage that people put on their bodies. Any wrestler that retires in good health is a smart wrestler. I will say that. One of the smartest wrestlers ever to live is the wrestler who goes, you know what? I'm good. I could do this another 10 years, but what if I didn't? What if I opened up that car dealership that I've been thinking about, or that gym, or I move over to public speaking? Oh, I found God. Time to talk about Jesus to people, and I'm just going to do that for a while. Or I'm going to move backstage. So many wrestlers are forced backstage. And I do think there's something to be said for the ones that go, you know what? My back is not great right now, and it will never get better. So what if I didn't do this anymore? There's something to be said about that, and I applaud it. There are not enough Ricky the Dragon Steamboats out there. And I do think about it fairly often that there was a time where Hacksaw Jim Duggan needed shoulder surgery, and he did a Indiegogo to raise money for it. And one of the rewards was a t-shirt. And I was like, I want a Jim Duggan t-shirt. I'd like Jim Duggan to get shoulder surgery. That sounds good. This was pre-GoFundMe. Or if GoFundMe existed, wrestlers hadn't really caught on to it. So this was a Indiegogo for his surgery. And so I did it. And then I get this t-shirt in the mail. And it's got his daughter's home address on it. Because his daughter mailed out all the shirts. His kids fulfilled the orders and mailed it out. And they didn't have a P.O. box, or they didn't use the P.O. box, so it was her home address. And it made me very sad that Hacksaw Jim Duggan had to do a Indiegogo to pay for his shoulder surgery, and that they didn't even have the help or the know-how or the support system to have a fulfillment company that, like, the Duggans family were mailing out shirts to people. And now you do a shirt through, Pro Wrestling Tees, and if it's for surgery or something like that, Pro Wrestling Tees won't take their cut. They'll put all money towards that, and you can make it nice and do all that. Should also say Bray Wyatt's merchandise goes to his family. Starting very soon, it'll be, as of right now, and very soon it will be included there that any merchandise purchased of Bray Wyatt's WWE shop goes to his family. But at that time, it bummed me the fuck out. It just really bummed me out. Like, it is not lost on me that I am raising funds a little bit to help pay off the money that I borrowed for dental surgery that I'm doing tomorrow. As mentioned, this ain't no dental plan. Tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, the goal is $500. We raised $200 already. It is not lost on me that I am doing that, but I am not Jim Duggan. I'm not internationally acclaimed wrestler Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I am an immensely minorly known internet person. But yeah. So, sad news in the world of wrestling. We send our best to the Rotunda family, and those that knew him, and the Funk family and friends. Condolences to all of them. Jim Duggan has to be able to lift 2x4 over his head, or he's not Jim Duggan. Indeed. I want to switch gears. There's so much we could talk about tonight. You know what? We're not going to talk about Gamescom. I don't know. The big takeaway from Gamescom is I want to play Starfield. And Alan Wake 2. I want to play those. I want to play Panic's new game. Also, hey, developers, stop using licensed music in your fucking trailers. If you were like, oh, I missed Nextlander's talkover of the opening night of Gamescom. Oh, I missed Jeff Gersman's talkover. I missed IGN's or whatever. I'm like, I'll go to YouTube. I'll watch it on YouTube. You can't. Because Panic's demo or a trailer had 20 seconds of a song, and it is not broadcastable. So people just couldn't fucking hear it. Everybody got boned because of that. I think those were the big standouts. People are trying to tell me that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be good now, and I'll believe it when I see it. But apparently, Phantom Liberty fucking gets it right. And that's cool. You know, that would be great if that does it. I don't know if there's anything from Gamescom that really stood out to you. You can let me know. Probably still full of transphobic shit in Cyberpunk. Yeah. Oh, sure. That didn't get fixed, Lord Crashington. But maybe it plays better. I don't know. There's more Marvel Snap stuff. Marvel Snap. The Hearthstone content creators that I follow on YouTube, a bunch of them all got sponsorship deals with Marvel Snap, so they're obviously gearing up because they are trying to get video game players, content creators to promote Marvel Snap. So I assume things are happening there. Steam World Build, oh yeah, December 1st, totally. You know what I'm not look, obviously, friends, there's no real reason for me to be super excited about the PlayStation Portable, right? Because I don't have a PlayStation 5, so I don't need a PlayStation Portable. But if I had a PlayStation 5, I also wouldn't need a PlayStation Portable, because that shit's $200 and doesn't have Bluetooth. If you want to use headphones with that, you have to buy like a dongle or some shit. I don't think the handheld device will stream PS5 games over Wi-Fi, and it's an 8-inch LCD screen. And that shit doesn't sound good. Oh god, I hadn't realized it also abbreviates the PSP. Yes, the PlayStation Portable. Yep, it's the PSP. It looks like a Switch with DualSense controllers. It can play media somewhat. But yeah, it doesn't fucking have Bluetooth. Nonsense. And also, it isn't portable. It's wireless. It should be called the PlayStation Wireless. Because the PlayStation Portable suggests that you could, I don't know, take it somewhere and use it. It is portable if you also take your PS5 somewhere and you have internet. Then it is portable. But really, it's just... Oh, I missed a step here somewhere. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. I also have to do that there. I didn't do this bumper. I skipped a step, everybody. Yes, I got to do this step here. I did the back bumpers. I didn't do the front bumpers. I got to do the front bumpers. So we'll do that now. So yeah, it doesn't have Bluetooth, so you won't be able to connect wireless headphones, or use a PlayStation Link wireless technology, which is a proprietary standard. So you have to buy special gear if you want to hear things in headphones. And supposedly it'll be lower latency than Bluetooth, but you still have to buy it separately than the $200 thing. Let's see. Oh, also, don't worry, because those headphones or buds, those special ones you're buying, they will work on a PS5, which actually is kind of nice that'll work. That is nice that'll actually work with that. They should have just kept calling it Project Q. I think Project Q was a good dumb name, but they should have stuck with Project Q. I think that was a good bad name for a product, and they didn't. Instead, they were like, "No, we're going with PlayStation Portable." Anyway, that thing's $200, and I'm sure some people will love it because they're like, "Well, I keep my PlayStation in the living room." But sometimes I want a game on the couch, or I want a game in the bedroom, and I don't have a Steam Link. I didn't go in on a Steam Link. I'm going in on this. So I can use, because I don't want to buy Steam games. I want to play my PlayStation 5 games. Yeah. I'm sure there is some use case for it. I just think it's not a good one. I guess that's my big thing, is that I don't think there's a good use case for a $200 wire streaming device of your existing stuff. You know, someone will fucking hack the shit out of it, I guess, eventually, hopefully, to do some cool shit. I assume eventually they'll figure out how to do that. But right now it sounds less than ideal. I'll get a little. Ooh, this vehicle. I haven't talked much about this kit as the build. This is coming together nicely. This is looking pretty great. Looking pretty snazzy. Oh, we got to get the front here. Ooh, there's more to construct. So we go in here. Make this look real snazzy. We'll take a pause for the cause in a couple minutes. I'll talk about ways you can support the channel. We'll go through that pretty quickly because it is a little bit of a chill evening tonight. So we're not bumping this evening, which is fine. That happens. You know, we don't always have to be bumping, but we're not really today. Hey, I know that it's incredibly hot out there across the country, across the world, but certainly in the United States, it's very hot. And that's weird because hell froze over. Because after spending years and years and millions of dollars going against right to repair, Apple is urging California lawmakers to pass a right to repair law, which will be one of the strongest ever in U.S. history. And that's so weird. So strange. Apple in the past few years has been like leaning more towards it. And part of it is like Apple's big plan is generally whichever is the most restrictive becomes the policy. Because it's cheaper to just do it blanket with everyone than it is to have like USB-C in the EU to accommodate the EU. And then, then other places will do it this way. Like, no, one and done. So like that has been an interesting trait of Apple as of late. And we're seeing that a bit here with this as well. You had some storms? Yeah, well, I haven't, luckily, haven't really had that. Just a lot of heat. A lot of heat and humidity. It's been fun. But by fun, I mean it hasn't. I'm lying. It has not been fun. Apple is supporting right to through their the lobby group that they have, because Apple has a lobby group. If you didn't know that, because they gotta get the word out about certain things. Apple writes in support of SB 244. Urging members of the California legislature to pass the bill as currently drafted. We support SB 244 because it includes requirements that protect individual users' safety and security, as well as product manufacturing and intellectual property. We will continue to support the bill as long as it continues to provide protections for consumers and innovators. And that's just fucking wild. It's just wild. In May, the Right to Repair Act passed the California Senate 38-0, but has not been voted in the state assembly. But most likely, Apple being like, yeah, do it, is probably enough. Lashbrook says, we had a brief storm Wednesday, breaking our 45-day streak, 100-plus temperatures. I'm very happy to hear that. Yeah, I don't think that I am cooking on our Labor Day. I am most likely, we're going to our neighbors, and I do not believe that I will be doing anything with the grill. And most of the time when it comes to that sort of get-together, I'm like, I'd rather be grilling. But in this case, no, I don't want to be outside ever right now. But I certainly don't want to be outside manning a grill. That sounds terrible. If I can avoid that, it will be swell. So yeah, that razor repair stuff is bonkers. Good on Apple, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. Also, I'm reading this article here from 404media.co. Parts of Texas might be doing rollback blackouts tonight. Oof. Fuck. I'm sorry, Lashbrook. But yeah, I wanted to talk very briefly about 404 Media, which is a new digital media journalism company. And they are folks from Motherboard. Samantha Cole, Jason Kobler, Joseph Cox, and Emmanuel Myberg, I believe is, how do you say that name? So yeah, Jason left being the editor of Motherboard. I mean, sinking ship, of course. But like, yeah. Basically, bunch of folks left to do a new thing. And that's very cool. They got a podcast. They're like going for it. You can subscribe. If you want to subscribe to journalism, you can do that. A wild time to work in corporate-owned media. Yeah. I mean, like, I hope it's good for them. I hope you're having a good build. I'm out of town, so I'm just saying hi. Aristophan, thanks for saying hi. This is a fun build. We're making pretty good progress on it, too. But yeah, this has been an enjoyable build as we get ready to start zoning in here on completing this thing. We'll get a roof on it. We'll get some wheels. No, the last thing I build is the poop. The poop is the last thing. That's bag 3 is the poop. We're still working on the vehicle. Also, I'm going to finish this kit tonight. So if we go long, we go long. But I'm going to complete this thing. And then Saturday, I'll be able to start a model kit. And that'll be fun. Save the best for last. Indeed. I always save the best for last. But yeah, I don't know. Want to start fresh with the Michaelis, the Samus kit. And you're like, Pat, what do you mean? And then I say, just look at this fucking thing. I'm not going to do it, but other people have kit bashed the Michaelis high grade into a suit, a Samus suit, and painted it. And all you have to do really is sculpt the head, and you're there. Maybe you make the shoulders a little bit bigger, but the shoulders are already pretty much there. And then you just paint the blaster, and you're good. That's the next thing I'll be working on. I'm not going to do that work. I will leave that to other people, but I do know that it has happened, and I do think that's fucking cool. I just want to build it because it looks neat, and I like building Witcher Mercury kits because they are just really fucking nice to work on. These modern kits are just a dream. So, we do need to take a pause for the cause. We are going to do that now. We'll talk about ways you can support the channel, and then we'll talk about some anime as I keep working on this kit. I want to fix this piece that I put on wrong. Do that. So let's go over here to that. I'll get through these pretty quickly because we're small but mighty tonight. If you are currently a subscriber to the old Bill with Baer, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the Tier 2 blue emote in the chat. Let the people know subscribing is the easiest way to support what I do here through Cash Money or your Prime gaming token. Those are another ways. You have an Amazon Prime link with your Twitch. You get a token. You can use it on anyone. Use it for me. That's a great way. If you're watching this later on YouTube and you're like, I should subscribe to Pat, you should do that. Now, next month, you can save some money because September is coming. September returns, and you'll be able to save like 25%. So if you don't want to subscribe right now, you could wait. But if you do want to sub for the first time, right now, you could also do that. And you could always gift a sub. You could be like Bunny Fiend and Bobby Dice Roller and J Devil. You could cheer like Bunny Fiend or Harold. Bits and coins always appreciated. Gifting subs is nice for the community. They don't see ads. They get cool emotes made by my friend, made by Xandra. It would be rad. If you want to do that, you could. there are other ways to support what I do here. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBaer. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Consider becoming a Patreon subscriber, because I will say that you will get a Q&A video, a custom Q&A video that only you get. You'll get that this weekend, because that is the one thing that I make that that nobody else gets unless you're a Patreon supporter. It is my one unique thing. I just wrote myself a note to make sure I actually record that video this weekend, because I don't want to forget. You got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBaer. Go over there. You could become a member there if you wanted to. Want to join my YouTube? You could do that. Membership $2 a month to get my Wednesday videos a day early. Consider that as an option. You could do that. Let's see. What else do we got that I can tell you about? Those are all monthly ways to support me, but what about a one-time donation? Well, if you wanted to donate to through my Ko-fi or my Stream Elements or PayPal, you could do that. My Ko-fi is also where I'm doing my fundraiser for tomorrow, but that's a separate thing from just saying, hey, if you want to do that. Because everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, through Patreon, through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and I buy model kits and equipment with that. The next kit that I'm building, the Michaelis. The Michaelis right here. Michaelis. That I bought off Amazon, because I was like, oh, this will be a good thing to buy. So if you wanted to see me, build stuff like that, your support monthly helps with that. Now, this Lego set, I got a bunch of money from Bunny Fiend to get this Lego set, because I said I wasn't going to put it on my Amazon wish list. And then Bunny Fiend was like, hey, buy it. And so I did. If you wanted to also purchase something for me so that I would build it on stream, you could go to my Amazon wish list. That's probably the easiest way to do that, is to go to my wish list to pick up something there. It comes to me in the mail. I make a dedicated YouTube video about the thing you purchased, and then I will build it on stream, and it'll jump the queue and become the next thing I build. I've got inexpensive Lego sets. I've got expensive Lego sets. Model kits of all sizes and prices, and inexpensive, expensive, free shipping, no free shipping, always on sale, never on sale, all kinds of different stuff that I will be happy to build. The Sigrund, one of the only Iron-Blooded Orphans kits I've never built. I have one kit. I have the Barbatos 6th form that I've never built, and then there's the Sigrund Iron-Blood from Iron-Blood Orphans. Is the only kit that I have never built from Iron-Blooded Orphans. That's $23 right now, which is a good price. But yeah, there's a bunch of kits. I'd be happy to build any of them on there. And like I said, if you buy it, it jumps the queue and becomes the next thing that I put together. So see if there's something there you'd like to see me build, and I would be happy to do that. And there's also some gear at the bottom, because maybe you just want to support that nonsense like that. I do have a throne wish list that is different from the Amazon wish list. That is just like an alternative, because it's nice to have alternatives. You can also buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store, and then you go to USA Gundam Store. You make an account. You buy a gift card. They send it to you in your email. You then send me a DM on Twitter, because that's still a thing, or a whisper on Twitch with that gift card code, and I will use that gift card code, and I will buy a model kit. That's it. Or 2 model kits, maybe. I don't know. You buy me a big old gift card. If you want to support me for free, join my Discord. My Discord is full of kind, loving individuals. We have a good time over there. It's very chill. So join my Discord. A couple of video links for you to check out before we get building here. If you missed my previous Pat Bear's Anime Club, where I recommend some anime from the previous couple seasons that maybe you missed the beginning of 2023, I made a video about that. You should check it out. My next one will be recorded this weekend. It'll go up on Monday. It is me reviewing the first several episodes of The Fire Hunter, an anime that I completely skipped over, that several people recommended to me that I should have checked out, and I didn't. So now I'm watching it. I've started watching it this week, and I will have thoughts in a video about The Fire Hunter. I think it was the first time I'm going to ever make a video, simply because people recommended that show. So yeah, we'll check that out. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series where I write and perform a piece, and I say I practice it. I didn't practice this week's. I got the timing right the very first time. This is a weird one, right? Because it's not really a character piece so much as it's. I tried to make an Instagram video, a motivational Instagram video, something that you would see and be like, "Oh, that's cute." I tried to make one of those, and I think I succeeded. It's very short. If you don't like it, it's over before you can get mad. Like, you would have to go out of your way to be mad about it. So don't be mad about it, I guess, is what I'm saying. I don't know. I guess you could be mad about it. You could get unbelievably upset about it if you wanted to. But it's just a cute little thing I made. I was just like, I don't know. I did a 4-minute video last week, and for this week, I just want to do a quick little one. So this week's Baerly Rehearsed is just like a half thought. I've had a lot going on. We're going to talk about some anime. I am also going to drink a little water because I need to do that. But first, this will be the last time I mention it today. That tomorrow night I am doing a bonus stream. It is called This Ain't No Dental Plan, raising money while paying CPU versus CPU matches in WWE 2K23. Every donation of $10 or more, you can choose the user-created venue, wrestlers, and or match types. So if you're like, fight in the ECW arena, or fight in the Impact Zone, or fight in AEW, I will have a bunch of cool arenas, fictional and other wrestling companies. Or if you're like, have a match with Terry Funk, or do a tables match with like 5 people in it, I could do that. And for $25, I will also cut a wrestling promo on you. And then if we hit our goal, starting tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, and if we hit our goal, which is $500, then I will show a wrestling promo and a comedy wrestling match that I participated in many moons ago. Like 9 years ago. The promo, I think, holds up and is very funny, and then I think the match is fine and good, but also very like in keeping of the times. Yes, because I had a root canal this week, and I did everything I could to make that the cheapest fucking thing possible. We're talking dental school, having people who are not fully licensed, who are learning with supervision, do it. We're talking deferment of cost as much as possible. We are talking only the root canal. I have a hole in my mouth because I'm paying for the filling later and doing the filling later. The antibiotics, I got the most generic I could. I have tried to keep the cost down on this as much as possible. It is still coming to when you take coffee fee or Ko-Fi fees into account. I set my goal at $500. Every little bit helps. We're already at 40% of the goal, as I said. If I put the donations bars up there, we're at 40% of the goal. We're on our way. And tomorrow's stream, hey, here's the thing. Even if you don't have any money, tomorrow's stream's going to be fun. You can just hang out on the stream tomorrow, and it'll be a good time because I'm going to be playing some CPU matches. All right, I'm going to tell you one of the wrestlers. I'll tell you a couple of the wrestlers I downloaded because I downloaded a couple new user-created wrestlers. I downloaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 so far, and I'm going to look at tomorrow again. Charles Barkley, like NBA Jam style Charles Barkley is in there. Charles Barkley's going to wrestle. Who else do I do not mind telling you about? I'll tell you about one of my favorite Dragon Ball characters. Somebody made the Great Saiyaman, and it looks pretty fucking good. Space Jam's Charles Barkley, yeah. So, Charles Barkley and the Great Saiyaman, you'll see them tomorrow along with other people. I have to go through still and download more random arenas. I have to go in and all of the user-created wrestlers, I got to make sure they have good entrances. And there's a couple more that I want to pick up. The natural tag team. Yeah, right. Also, I already said Terry Funk. Yes, Barkley of Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden. But I'm saying he looks like he does in like NBA Jam more than anything. But like, yes, Charles Barkley's in there now. And a Terry Funk. I downloaded Terry Funk. I already said that. Anyway, that's tomorrow. It's gonna be fun. Starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be several hours. Come to that. I'm going to drink some water, take some pills, and then we'll dramatically transition back to the overhead, talk about some anime as I finish the fight with this Lego set right now. All right, let's keep going. We have to talk about anime. So, The Great Cleric didn't have an episode today. They didn't have it last week. Again, this like international athletics competition has messed with two of my shows. So we did not get an episode of The Great Cleric. We will get another one next week, apparently. They'll be back. We might get two next week. It's unclear if we're going to get back-to-back episodes or they're going to be just 2 weeks behind or be 1 week behind and we'll get 2 episodes. We don't know. So I can tell you about Reborn as a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon. This episode fucking was great. They keep finding ways to make Boxo a character who is a vending machine. They keep finding ways to make him active in the story where he should be reactive. You would imagine that even a sentient vending machine would be able to wouldn't only be able to do so many things, but not in this case. So there is the group, the Menagerie of Fools, that the party that they've interacted, Boxer's interacted with. The leader is like, hey, we need your help defeating the big leader of the Skeletons, the big leader of the Skeletons, because there's this legend that anyone who receives a coin for defeating one of the lords. So the Stratum Lords, like every race of monster in the dungeon, there's a boss. And if you beat a boss, you get this weird coin. Boxo got a coin last episode. And if you have 6 coins, you can go and you can meet God at the bottom of this dungeon and you can get a wish granted, which is fucking wild to introduce in this episode. And they only have 3 so far. And Boxo's like, well, I have a coin. I wonder if, what if this God, could make me human? What if I could wish to be human? It's like, well, I do serve a purpose as a fucking box, as a vending machine, but, it's something to think about. So, it's interesting that for the first time, really, Boxo has contemplated what if I could be a human again instead of a vending machine. So that's interesting. So anyway, it's like, okay, we'll do it. So they're like, okay, we have an idea. This large skeleton, which has perfected flames all over it, we're gonna trap it we're in a pit. We're gonna take care of it in a pit. And so for several days, they fill this pit with water and ice. And then also, Boxo, they don't know this. Boxo understands. They get all this from Boxo. They buy a bunch of ice and water from Boxo because they come up with the idea that, hey, a thing. Oh, okay, the vehicle's done, and now we're going to build poop, everybody. It's happening. Here's Ian Malcolm with a fucking shovel, and it's time to build the poop. Bag 3 is poop time. We're doing it, everybody. We're on our way. We're going to build some poop. So anyway, Boxo, because, Boxo knows, because Boxo was a human man at one point from Earth. Boxo knows that like dry ice will be helpful because carbon dioxide will also smother the flames. Okay, so they get the escalation, the big skeleton, into the pit, and then Boxo's like tricks Lamus into dropping Boxo onto the skeleton so that Boxo can take the skeleton out and use its own weight as a vending machine to kill the skeleton, so that he basically gets the reward of the coin. And then he sells himself helium balloons to float out, and it's kind of fucking rad. And yeah, so Boxo gets the coin, and he sells it to the Menagerie of Fools for 100 gold, or 100 gold. And then everyone's like, hell yeah. So then they go back to the village with Boxo because they've accomplished their mission. So this is maybe the new thing. Like, is Boxo going to help them and then find out if wishes are true? Is Boxo going to attempt to collect his own 5 more coins that he needs to make a wish? Is he content with his life? This is interesting. The interesting things we're going with it. And like I said, they're finding ways to make Boxo an active participant, not just a support class, even though it would make total sense for him just to be support because he is a vending machine. He's just a fucking vending machine. But they're like, no, let's figure out active ways to have this character involved, which I appreciate and enjoy. That's nonsense. So yeah, I'm still really liking it. I still think that it's good and weird. Sorry, I gotta write down one thing for tomorrow, which just occurred to me. Somebody that I want to include in that. Question mark. Might put him there. Okay. What else was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Now we'll talk about Helck. And this episode I did not enjoy as much as I enjoyed Reborn as a vending machine because there were not. The thing with Helck is that it's an action series with jokes, and there is a story, there's a plot, and stuff's happening. And this episode, they were like, what if the whole thing is plot? What if the whole episode is plot, and there aren't really jokes anymore, and we just kind of get rid of the jokes? Because, like, what do we need jokes for one episode? Surely it has to be against TOS to poop on stream. Lashbrook, I don't know. I think you'd have to argue about the definition of make. Because we are making a poop. We are not pooping. We're not gonna poop. We are not in the act of pooping. We are making a poop. We are designing and building a poop. So you'd have to argue about what making means or doesn't mean. And I would say in this instance, it's fine. It's fucking fine. Everything's fine. It's okay. So episode 7 of Helck is a lot of conjecture and assumptions and backstory. We do learn more about Azundra. He's the guy he's the demon that kind of came and saved the day last week. It was considered that he's not the strongest, but if there is plant life around, he is just as strong as anybody else. The genre is makers and crafting. It's always been about poop. Indeed. So basically, they capture a bunch of those winged humans, and then other winged humans show up and kill them because they don't want those winged humans to be captured. But also, we discover that, and through a lot of fucking conjecture and just weird understandings, that the king can resurrect the knights and give their powers to other winged knights, which is basically the humans are replicating their own army, and killing the winged knights is not a solution to the problem, is basically what we're getting at. Long story short, it takes a long while to get there. We barely see Helck in this episode, which I feel like is a fucking mistake because he's the most important character in there. Basically, the human kingdom, they got to be stopped. There's a big plan about what to do. and they're like, all right, we got to try to figure out a way to nullify that's what we need to do. We need to figure out a way to nullify this resurrection technique, because that's just going to be much more of a threat. And maybe they can block the king of the humans' spellcasting abilities. And they're also like, okay, the big thing we need to do is we got to get Vermilio back over here. We got to find Vermilio, and we got to get her back here because we need her leadership and her skills. They figured out where she is, but they can't open a teleportation like gate big enough. They don't have the means to open a gate to bring her in. Here's the part, folks, where I add in the berries that made this dinosaur sick. The berries are now in the poop. I have added the berries loose into there. Berries are in there deep within the stupidest fucking thing. But they're in there now. So they're like, okay, well, we can't go help her, but we can send supplies. That's the idea, is they're going to send supplies to Vermilio. And the bird that they've been hanging out with, Vermilion Helck, finds this bag of supplies and goes to bring it over. And then Vermilio is in a hurry and is like, I need you, bird, to help me with cooking and help prep. And then that leads to the bird tossing all the goods into the fire to help the fire grow, because the bird doesn't know that these supplies would be helpful. So that's the only joke in the whole fucking episode. And that this is one of those things, like, if this was like a couple chapters of a manga, I would be like, ah, man. And I just kind of bummed out. But instead, I had to watch the whole episode, and I was definitely like bothered by it, because it could have been a much better episode. Instead, it was just whatever. I believe this is supposed to be hair, and it's supposed to be poop. Obviously, it's a little bit of poop, but there it is. There's the mound of poop. That's the end of this kit. That's the thing we worked so hard to build. Is that I got a bunch of extra pieces on this kit, but that's it. That's the poop. Anyway, this episode of Helck was a lot of world building, and it just wasn't great. It could have been way better, and it wasn't, and that's a fucking bummer. I was bummed out by this episode because it just wasn't as cool as I would have liked it to be. But there it is. This is our play set. This is all our parts here. Got some extra pieces, and then you can remove the top to unveil the berries that made this dinosaur unhappy. If you wanted to. And we'll just put them there. So this is the kit. I'm going to take some photos of this, and then we'll get prepped in with the Michaelis. Shouldn't the dino be on its side? Oh, yes, you're right. The dino should be on its side because it's unhappy. Should be on its side like that because it's unhappy. And the vehicle's there. And there's our play set. I'm going to take a photo of this. You know what? I'm going to take a couple shots. We'll do this. Oh, I like that. That's good. Dinosaur's injured. And then get a cool shot of the Jurassic Park vehicle. All right, great. That's the set. Nonsense. I'm going to keep all of the minifigs and the dinosaurs because I've got our other dinosaurs and minifig here. I'm keeping all of those. I mean, I'm going to keep the poop around. I don't know how long I'm going to keep the poop just on my desk, but for a while I'm going to have it. And then the vehicle and will eventually get broken down and go into my parts bin that will then eventually get mailed out, cleaned up, and then sent out to kids in need. They'll be recycled. But for not for a while. I'm not going to immediately recycle it, but I'm keeping my minifigs and my dinosaurs because I fucking want to keep minifigs and dinosaurs. What am I not going to keep those? Who do you think I am? Yeah, we're not going to send poop to kids. No. Sorry, I'm just going to get this out, and then we can get this up. Oops, need that there. We can. Wait. There we go. Wait, what happened? Did I delete that by mistake? I did. Shit. There it is. That's what I need. There we go. Okay, sorry everybody. Had a bit of a brain fart there. So we can talk about the Michaelis. We can start getting set up there. What I want to hear from you, friends, is what are you watching right now? What games are you playing? What are you excited about coming in the future? What's got you going? What's got you amped up as far as games go? I got set up in WWE 2K23. I got set up with that, so that's kind of been the start for me. I also obviously spent some time. Not obviously. I'm playing Hearthstone. I have a couple decks I really like in Hearthstone. That has been what a lot of my time has been lately, is playing games in there. That's been very enjoyable. What else? I have not bought Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. I have plans to buy Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Apparently, modders have already figured out online co-op in Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. So they're already figuring out ways for people to hang out, and the dev was wilding out about that, just being very excited about that, and I agree. That's cool as shit. That's just wild in like the best possible way. That people are like already doing cool weird shit in that game, and that I plan on getting it. Just have not yet. That is on my list. BG3, patiently waiting on my AC6 coming in the mail. Oh yes, yeah, Armored Core. So here's the thing. I love mechs. I have only loved so many mech games. Controlling a mech is not necessarily where my fandom goes. I like building mechs, certainly. I like watching mechs in animation, of course. I don't get the biggest thrill out of controlling mechs. Had some fun with Gundam Evolution when I was playing that because friends really wanted to play that. I did have some fun with it. I wasn't against that. But I'm just not a big fan of controlling mechs as they run around. But I'm glad that Armored Core 6 is coming out, and I hope people are really will have a great time with that. But yeah, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk is the next game that I want to get. But I have to be very good with money right now. Speaking of which, yes, I am not against fun, Lord Crashington. I did not pre-order the Gundam Maxter. The Gundam Maxter went up for pre-order on Premium Bandai. I bet it's sold out. It might still be up there. It was like $31, I think. The pre-order is still available, folks. If you want to get the HG144 Gundam Maxter at delivery February 2024, pre-orders are still available. I just could not justify spending that money because next month I'm going to get a good amount of money from y'all, but I have spent the money I've gotten through Patreon and the last bit of money that I got through Patreon and Twitch I have spent on things. So I could always do my own money, but I really can't justify right now spending my own money when I need to pay off debts. So my own money has to go to debts instead of what could be this very cool thing. But yeah, right now that is not sold out. It is $31 and of course shipping. It is still up. I would very much like to get that. Cannot get that right now. I want to say here about this kit, folks, if I can talk about this kit. Only one sticker for the face. But the big thing I want to talk about with this kit is 4 pieces for a head. That's wild. This head is the whole head, and then like the front face and the back, like / top part. That's wild. That this kit only has like this for a high grade. That's bonkers. That's really detailed and very cool. You would think that this would be like halves, and there would be the panel line down the center, and it would be kind of covered up, but kind of not covered up, and not look show accurate. But no, they just did them like. It makes sense that parts of this are other high grades from the show, so they've already done a lot of that work. But to detail this head completely new, it's pretty fucking cool. That's badass. I've heard very good things about this build. That is a nice, quick, fun build. So I'm excited to work on it. We've worked on kits from this line that are very similar because they're based on the same frame design. But yeah, I'm excited to work on this one. Yeah, I want that Maxter very badly. If my finances work out and it's still up for pre-order, I will get it. If it goes away, I will wait for the next one. I might next month when money rolls in, and it's going to be the Twitch money next month is going to be good. I might just put some money aside for the next time the Maxter goes up for pre-order, which is what I did with the Gundam Rose. I couldn't do it for the first time, and then I put money aside so when it went up the second time, I could get it. And part of me wants it as soon as possible, but I understand. I also only have one kit in pre-order right now, so I could probably use another one. February, Pat would be very happy for me if I pre-ordered that kit and had it for February. And I might. But yeah, I want to hear from you friends if anybody else is playing any video games, watching anything, doing anything like that. Have not touched Diablo 4 in a while. I plan on getting back into that. I just haven't had the time for it. Sorry. I'm going to look right now and see if there are any mods for Persona 4 that I want to download. Because I did play a little Persona 4 the other day. And maybe I would want to get back into that. What We Do in the Shadows continues to be awesome. Nice, Lord Crashington. Glad you're enjoying. Yeah, no new mods for Persona 4 Golden that I want since the last time I looked for mods. But that's fine. I'm not expecting there to be a bunch of them, right now. But every once in a while, often what happens is people port previous mods to the new system, and it's like somebody else porting. It's like, oh, this mod didn't get ported over from Persona 4 Golden 32-bit, so I've done the work, Even if there aren't new mods. See, the thing is, before I stream it again, I'd like there to be new mods, but there aren't any right now. I've had some fun in Mars First Logistics. Had a great time with that on Tuesday. Looking forward to playing more of that. And today I spent time in WWE 2K23 downloading wrestlers. I still have to go through and make sure they all have good entrance music or entrance music at all, because sometimes people build a character and they don't do any work to it. So I'll try to find that. And then I'll also make sure they have cool entrance names, the presentation names, so we get to hear cool, fun stuff. And I'll go through every character and do that at some point before tomorrow's stream. Basically, while Jeff is streaming, I'll be doing that work. And then downloading more. I have a couple custom venues. I'm going to download some more so that people can see that, showcase that. Oh, that looks fucking cool. This kid's head already looks rad. is already a great looking kit. Starting the Michaelis. Yeah, this is already this head looks rad as hell. It's already a great looking build. Barely getting into it. Barely. Yeah. You know, I thought that the Lego set was going to take all stream. I really did, but it did not. as soon as the vehicle got built, like the rest of it just like came together real quick. It was not an issue. We can move on the bike. But that's why I'm glad I knew what was the next thing that we wanted to build. I also spent part of the day without Wi-Fi because I updated the security on my router, and it took a long time for that to work. It took a very long time for it to reboot after I updated security. I also had to like remember the password for it because, you know, hey, here, public service, y'all probably know this, but I'm sure that there might be somebody who doesn't know this. If you have a router, you want to go in and you want to set up a name if it allows for a name and and you want to change the password. You don't want it to be admin, because then if people know your IP address, your local IP address, they can just access your router. So you want to update that when you get a new router. I have done that certainly, but I went in and wanted to change a few things around there. There was a device that was like causing problems on the network that we're getting rid of, and I wanted to make sure it wouldn't further cause problems on the network. And I took care of that, but then also updated the software or the firmware on my router, which theoretically will help with streaming. It won't help with uploads. It'll help with like having consistent upload stream, because I'm gonna need that. And also maybe will help with download stream because I've got lots of wrestling to watch this weekend. I am going to miss SmackDown tomorrow night because of the bonus stream, and I feel like that's fine. And then Saturday, Collision into Sunday. Daytime, fucking daytime. Watching All In. Hoping that some pre-show matches involve British wrestlers, because right now on this card, as of the time of this recording, there are currently only 2 British wrestlers in a giant show in Britain. And that's a bummer. Now, are some other Brits injured? Yes. Some other Brits are injured and therefore can't be on the show, which is a bummer. For Pac and for Jamie Hayter, certainly a bummer. But also, there are a couple other British folks that work for the company, like Zack Sabre Jr. and Kip Sabian, that are not on the card. Zack Sabre Jr. not being on the card is bonkers. Kip is understandable. Zack Sabre Jr. not understandable. We should be having Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy instead of Orange being in the Anarchy, the Stadium Stampede match. Bonkers. There's still some good stuff going on in that show, but it could be great. There could be great stuff going on in that show. I don't know. It is somewhat underwhelming as far as a lineup goes of matches. Adding in fucking Billy Gunn to it is like, all right. I mean, hey, look, House of Black being there, I think is great. I thought I would have guessed for sure if you had asked me during the day yesterday, be like, hey, so is Billy Gunn and the Acclaimed versus the House of Black? Do you think that's going to be all in or all out? I would have said, oh, that'll be all out, so they have another week to promote it. That would make sense on all out because like they need a big show and that's kind of fun. Nope, it's an all in. And it's like, all right, I guess. And there's one more match being added all in that'll happen that is already recorded. It'll air tomorrow during Collision. It is not a match it's also a match that could have been on All Out instead of All In. Last week has been playing a lot of Fortnite, build up to season 3 of Babylon 5, and everything is getting real bad. Yeah. Babylon 5 has high highs and some low lows and some CG that does not fucking hold up and that did not look great at the time. And then things get very fucking convoluted. And then they get awesome. And it like totally... Babylon 5 does its best to justify a lot of weird shit that was like, some of it was not planned and some of it was planned, and they do their fucking best to really like make sense of it. Oh, bad for the world of characters. Okay, yeah, you haven't gotten to the part where it's not the best show in the world. But yes, that show definitely puts people in tough situations. It is a drama after all, and there's some characters that fucking go through it for sure. All right. Wait, how do you work? How does that work? Where do you go? I don't know how this piece works. I don't know where this piece goes and how it works. That's always fun when you're like, I don't know what you want from me. Chest. Oh, there it goes. Oh, it goes there. Oh, okay. I got it. Oh, yeah, this is the chest. So, yeah. There are no polycaps in this kit, so they're just hard plastic that act as polycaps in numerous ways. Which is not cheating, but it is like, all right, well, you do need this kit to have a neck, so I guess. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying that. Like I said, I'm watching the Fire Hunter, and I'll be talking about that in the next Pat Bear's Anime Club. That has been fun to watch the first couple episodes. I don't know how many I'm gonna watch for talking about it, but like, you know, they say you gotta watch 3 before you can pass judgment, and I don't believe that, because sometimes during the first episode of a thing you can be like, nah, I'm good. Like the anime this season about the woman who comes home to her domestic cat who is like people size. I knew within like 10 minutes of that show that I was like, this art style and this animation is awful, and I am not going to be enjoying this. I knew pretty quickly that was not for me. Because sometimes you just fucking know. You can bounce. So I don't know how many episodes I'm going to watch of it. I've watched 4 so far, and I probably want to watch a couple more. Got to finish at least 3 seasons to know what's up. Yeah, no, when it comes to anime, it's like, nah. Some people, like I said, they do the 3-episode rule, and I found that. If I'm like somewhat interested in a thing, but I haven't like fully committed, I will occasionally do the full 3 if I felt weird on the 2nd episode. But sometimes I'm just like, nah. Because like life is short, and there's a lot of fucking anime out there. Why is this popping out? This neck piece, I'm like maybe not putting on right because it's just popping away. So it definitely wants to go in like this. This piece wants to go here. I know that to be true. And then this should theoretically slide in here. Doesn't want to slide like this. You want to slide like this in between that. But you don't do that. You want to do that, but you don't want to do that. Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, no, yeah. So when I push it all the way, this thing just fucking pops out, and it shouldn't. So I'm going to spend a minute doing this here, and then I will do it off a stream and nail it immediately. Because that's how my life is. This is going to frustrate me, and then I'm just going to do it. Oh, no, I got it. Great. I got it. I had to press down on part of the plastic to connect it. All right, we'll keep working on this kit on Saturday, But that is going to do it for us here. And I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me here on the old Build with Baer. Reminder tomorrow, I do have my fundraiser stream tomorrow, so I hope you'll consider coming and hanging out with me for that. It's going to be fun. You'll have a good time there. And yeah, we are wrapping up things here, and I hope you had a great night. We are going to go on a raid. That is how we end every stream around here. We're going to go hang out with some people who are fucking cool as hell and go show them some love. And I'm going to go see who is streaming right now that we want to go hang out with. Who's doing stuff. Who's doing things and things that we want to go hang out with. We have not rated Matt Wiggins in a while. He's playing Final Fantasy 16. So let's go hang out with Matt. Because again, we have not hung out with him for a bit. I don't know how he's doing with Final Fantasy. So we'll go see what he's up to. Feel free to come along on this raid. I hope you have a great rest of your night. If you can make it tomorrow, please do. Even if you don't have the funds to help me out and you just want to hang out tomorrow, you're more than welcome to hang out tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. 2 to 3 hour stream. I think I won't go past 10 p.m. probably, just because I know myself. And then Saturday, working on Michaelis, continuing to work on this kit. Thank you all so much for being here. Have a great rest of your night. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.